Hello friends, this is Planet Entertainment, and today I'm going to tell you about a Hong Kong Chinese drama movie called Hurricane Brew. The movie revolves around a famous local restaurant 7 on Spring Avenue in Hong Kong. The restaurant's talented chef, Skyka, specializes in Southern, and a TV host talks about the 30-year-old restaurant and your fallen rift, and You Should Sky program showcases your talent on national television even though he is already known as the best chef of all of Hong Kong. Along with him, his friend Uni is also presented to people. Usually she deals with the financial aspects. Sky Restaurant is very adamant about the quality of the food and the time that they provide to their customers, which is one of the reasons why their restaurant is so popular most of the time. Most of the time the restaurant is so crowded that there's a long line out front. One afternoon, the queue is broken. A group of Sky customers refuses to serve, even though the customer boasts of the power and money he possesses. Before leaving, the man laughs at their not-so-large restaurant and informs him that his boss has brought in a world-class chef to open a 3-star restaurant. On the contrary, their thoughts are frightened, but she thinks it's just a bluff. Meanwhile, in France, the crown king and the queen welcome the elephant newborn son. They're holding a massive bow to celebrate his birthday and inviting a world-class chef to cook the guests a meal. This guy said chef Michelin educated in France has fallen a special way of cooking that sees no boundaries in to one particular style. He loves to mix the cuisines of different countries, and he likes to mix the cuisines of different countries and therefore create innovative. A specialty of the chef presents the queen with a dessert that looks like a red egg but filled with mango puree and coconut. The dish is inspired by the tradition that symbolizes red eggs as of leaving a newborn baby a delicious. The dish's meaning touches the royal family's heart, and they applaud the brilliant work of the polo player. After a successful he's his assistant my return to the restaurant where they now work. The owner and his colleagues welcome them and congratulate them on their success. The owner also informs them that they will be promoting the chef of the entire Art Nouveau franchise. This is a huge step for him, but to everyone's surprise he declines. Paul wants to return to Asia and pursue more of the lofty ambitions. He has been invited by a Chinese businessman who wants to open a 3-star restaurant back on Spring Avenue, one of his regular customers. Sky informs him that the rumors of the opening of a new restaurant is true. Bittersweet for Sky because she wants to expand her restaurant on, but a new restaurant will mean fewer customers and more competition. When Sky was 10 years old, his father beat him, and since then, and the uncle is also the owner and proprietor of their restaurant, took care of him. He also teach Sky everything he needed to know about the idea. Unlike his father, after Sky hasn't seen his father in over 20 years and doesn't plan to reconcile with him the morning after he arrives in Hong Kong and goes to the market in search of a grouper fish. The seller only has one. He decides to sell it to Sky. I know that he can cook it better. Paul insists that the shopkeeper, the store owner, shouldn't be biased. Get into a little argument, and before the salesman cuts the fish in half for both of them. In a few weeks, there will be an opening ceremony of a 3-star restaurant called Stellar, which is right across the street. Stephen's restaurant. The chairman and manager Lee arrives as a group as the first guest to the restaurant and is greeted by the floor. At that time, the people from Restaurant 7 and start announcing the various offers and discounts they're offering for next week. When the security guard Stellar tries to stop them, a conflict that draws the attention of the floor and guests and forcing them to come out to see what all the fuss is about. When the conversation gets heated, her suggests a contest to see who can cook better at cooking. Sky and Paul accepts the challenge. They decide to have a competition. Paul makes the first move in deftly picking out the ribs of the fish. That's it. Sky takes the fish and cuts it into even in less than a minute. The crowd claps its hands, and even the floor is impressed by the chairman of the bands, or should to announce the results. He freely asserts that the true results will be announced only the international competition chef challenge, in which both chefs. He also claims that plans to take over the entire neighborhood of Spin and Venue, to tear down all the buildings and modernize them. If Sky wins I'm the chairman ready to withdraw. His plan, however, if Paul wins a plan for the future of the entire neighborhood in his hands. Ska feels the pressure nevertheless. However, he is determined to do everything, to do his best in the coming days, and the number of customers at Restaurant 7 is decreasing. Not to worry that he may soon be out of business soon. Socks assures her that it's impossible. He gives the example of snails and field snails, saying that there will always be people who like one better the other, and I have to change my food to be better than the stellar restaurant. And then the next day Ska is disappointed when he goes to the market and finds out that stellar restaurant has a bill of goods. Fish TV says that Sky will soon be going against the floor to get to the semifinals. But then I also announced that the winner of the tournament will face the two-time Mountie winners. To Sky is shocked to see that his father has achieved the success he wanted. Now he's even more. For a long time, Sky runs to the place but finds her father with her Uncle Sam, and Molchan directly says he still doesn't believe Sky and doesn't regret abandoning him for his career. Those are the most hurtful words that Sky has ever heard, but he's hiding his pain, and he promises to win the competition and to prove that being a good chef doesn't. You don't have to be a person like Mountain. On the day of the cook-off, the contestants get 90 minutes to prepare a dish of their choice and present it. Sky Diva traditional duck roasted, tired, and while the floor is cooking will give foie gras all 90 minutes intense, as both chefs demonstrate great experience in preparing the duck from the inside out, almost effortlessly and efficiently pulling out the insides and making the audience gasp with delight at the end. Basting the duck in salt and breaking up the extra layer revealed a nice cooked duck with vegetable stuffing. Music. People try it and seem more impressed. Duck hops the floor sherbet when it's time to vote on gets 3 9s and a whopping 10 points out of 10 for a total of 37 points. Right after that, Sky getting 2 10s from the first two. Studios 3 give him a 9, but the last judge gives him only a U theme since both chefs have the same number of points. The head judge makes an executive on the winner because his presentation was better than the tasteless surfers. Casco, and although the floor victory should have to strengthen his ability as a chef, things are not as expected. Celebrating the victory, the manager informs Paul that he wants to replace him with her to participate in the finals. I'm, in his words, a woman of much more attractive in the media than a man. When Paul tries to defend his position, chef might show that he has a hard time to experience certain flavors such as saltiness. Over the past few months, he's been using a notebook containing all his recipes to cook and nothing he can't do on his own mind. I'm also reporting that she never wanted to be friends with the sexes and only took his side, only to outdo him as a chef betrayed by an offended cook runs out of the restaurant never to look back that night, collides with the drunken floor in front of stadium. They forget their rivalry, and for a few minutes they share their past troubles by telling him that his father was a great cook and his last wish was for the floor to look like him. Also tells him about his relationship with his father, and after the conversation, they gain mutual respect. Suddenly, and throws away bottles of liquor. Pictures of the Mounties on the billboard swearing at him in Korean. For now, he doesn't want to withdraw from the competition. The semifinals at the same time, the manager Stiller is at the restaurant with the ones, convinces Uncle Seed to fall in the restaurant with them. That's when Polka shows up and announces his partnership. The floor also reminds the manager that as the winner of the competition, he's eligible to compete the championship for the next few weeks. Sears and Paul work out on the spot. They're trying each other's styles, cooking and reaching a point, touching on the modernization, traditional cuisine. The semifinals of the cooking competition takes place at the Studio City Casino in Macau City. Whoever wins the round will the competition begins. Skype using your culinary skills to compete against 4 other great chefs from around the world. Somehow, a group of Lee also added us to take part in competition. She cooks very carefully to prove that she's better than the floor. She cooks oyster dishes with frozen foam that the judges initially praise, but then it seems they find it mediocre. Meanwhile, the floor of Iska and cookware tofu mapo design sense of taste Sky helps determine the flavor of the ingredients while understanding of the floor's culinary prowess helps with using techniques and processes. Together they create traditional dishes with a modern design and a judge very impressed by this dish in the end. Eventually they win the competition and make it to the finals. The Pao applauds. The Pao looks at Mine, who stands with her head down, ashamed that she betrayed him and didn't sleeping to prove herself for the final. Only one of the chefs can. To compete with the mountain, he's gender believes that because of his lack of taste he can't participate. He also know that the desire Sky to defeat his father is very personal, so he offers soon to take part. The finals. The next day Sky stands face to face with his father. They can cook whatever they want in an hour. Father and son don't exchange words before the start. His thoughts are overwhelming Sky, and he can't concentrate enough to concentrate so he can come to his senses. Dad splashes water on his son's face. Sky comes to his senses and starts cooking. The end of the hour is very aesthetic. Sugar demonstration of a melted catch with a flower on top. Applause. In contrast, Sky's dish is a little more simple. But personally, he makes noodles like the noodles that mountain made years ago. Before they abandon their son, the judges taste the mountain's dish and are impressed with it. But Sky doesn't hand them his food. Instead, he gives them a bowl of noodles. Mountain and the father tastes it and marvels at the flavor of the noodles. Finally he has no choice but to recognize his son's talent in the culinary arts, and the winner of the contest is unclear because the judges never tasted the food. In the next, we see a crowd gathered outside Restaurant 7 and to celebrate Chinese New Year. They're all together like family enjoying the food prepared. Skype and floor. That's it, gentlemen. If you want to see more videos like this,